Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Honey, I'm going
Yes.
to show you a trick.
Okay, show me a trick.
See the penny?
I see the penny.
I'll put this bottle of water right on top of the penny.
Okay,
And I'm going to put this over it.
okay.
And when I say the magic words,
Yeah,
the penny's going to go inside the bottle.
really?
Yes.
Okay, let me see this happen.
Okay. Now I got the towel. Boogie boogie.
Boogity, boogity.
Boogity boogity.
Boogity, boogity.
Okay. Now you look down in there and the penny's inside the bottle.
Oh!
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, happy Tuesday. I hope you guys all enjoyed your day off yesterday for President's Day. I I was not live yesterday. I got to tell you about my day. So many of you guys know I have been working nonstop. I've taken some downtime around Christmas time, but for the most part, we've been running really strong, really hard for the entire year. And I was looking around the house, and the house is kind of, went by the wayside. So yesterday, I got into an absolute cleaning fit. I should step back and say I watched the rest of my series of Schitt's Creek. Okay, that's if you guys want to watch the series, it's SCHITT' Creek, and it is a hilarious movie, or actually TV series. I didn't realize how well known they were because I actually watched their farewell last segment, which was them giving us a behind the scenes look. And I didn't even realize that they had actually won Emmys and things of that nature for this sitcom. And I got to tell you, it was just absolutely hilarious. And then to peek behind the scenes and see what all they did and how the creation worked and everything like that. It was really, really kind of neat. That was a family production. People didn't realize it. It was a family production. And they did an amazing job. So, but after that was over, I was teetering going live, and I'm looking around. And I'm like, the laundry needs to be done. Kitchen needs to be cleaned up. I've got all the stuff that I take because I've been on the road for so long. I never really put anything away because I'm just having to pack it in a couple of weeks and hit the road again. So I finally put all the electronics and cords and plugs and all that. I finally put away in their house, in their home, and just got a lot of stuff done. I'm in the process of finishing up the laundry and was actually folding laundry while I was listening to Dolly this morning, and just getting stuff done. So I feel better. I feel a lot better. So if you guys want to know what I was doing on President's Day, I was celebrating by cleaning, Bullhorn Betty Casa. So good morning, Nana of 7. First to say good morning to Bullhorn Betty and chat, followed by M&M Racing. Mary Thomas, nice to see you here this morning. Petty Detective. Nani. Michelle, Lady 7 Up. Pink. I never say the flower right, so peony. Pink peony, I think is the proper word. I'm horrible with pronunciations. ZA, Christina, Katrina, it's nice to see you here. Stacy, who else do we have? Sonia's in the house. Good morning, love. Tammy T. We were just having a nice little conversation this morning. Angela, Sheila, nice to see you all here this morning. Cool Gamer in the house. TL, nice to see you all. Cranky Pants and Lunch Lady. Miss Pete and just Samantha. Michelle Weddle, nice to see you. Kim, nice to see you. Mama Llama. Princess Megan Elsa, nice to see you. Millie Joe. Ro. Riley, good morning. Midnight Nurse Carla, it's nice to see you here this morning. What else do we have? I'm trying to find some people that I haven't seen so I can say good morning. Kim, Andrew, nice to see you. Kayla, Jennifer. For those, I'm not going to tell too much, but she had surgery yesterday. Okay, I gave you medical worker away. Sue me for HIPAA violations. No, I'm just joking. And Jennifer, the trooper that she is, made it through. However, she is going to be off her feet for a little while. So she needs YouTube to get through her very boring days in a bed. So nice to see you here this morning, Jennifer. We're glad to have you. We hope that the surgery takes and you have no more issues moving forward. But as life tells us, we always have issues. So good morning, Audrey. Nice to see you. Emma, nice to see you. Did I say good morning to you, Miss Pete? If I didn't, good morning. Who else do we have? Angie Gibson, nice to see you. Tammy Moss, just an old lady. I think everybody else. Stacy, help me, Rhonda. Nice to see you. AJ, nice to see you as well. Capricorn. What is that? Capricorps? Oh, Julie. Stepper's in the house. Nice to see you, Love Bug. M.E. and Whoopsie Daisy. Oh, I like that one. I like that one. Some people come up with some really clever names. I really like some of the names that we see. Even if I can't say them well. Even if I can't say them well. The official Nikki, it's good to see you as well. Everybody else that's in the house, good morning to all. We have a new case that was been breaking. I've been monitoring it. And then Marissa sent me copies of it because we've had 2 cases that have come in with frostbite and things that children should not be dealing with. We were talking briefly about one child, their frostbite on their foot was so horrible that they ended up having to amputate the leg above the knee. And that's a horrible situation for a child to go through, especially when they have been left out in a trailer with no windows and a couple heaters, and mom and dad are nowhere to be found. It was just really, really bad. And I don't know how parents could do that to their child. I mean, and not know that their child is, there was discoloration. For something like that to happen, you're talking about major discoloration. You're talking about a smell of it couldn't have been pleasant. It had to have been noticeable. And then a couple days later, we're talking about cases and things of that nature. And this case comes up and I heard nothing about it. And I actually thought when I first started reading it that this was the case I had already spoke about briefly. And it's not. It's another stinking case. It's another stinking case, but this one is far worse. And they found a child in the city over walking around who knew her name and her mom, but not where she lived. Terrible. Yeah. It's happening all over the place. It's happening all over the place. And why there's a need for this centralized database, which reminds me, guys, I'm going to be meeting with that attorney on a virtual Zoom call with them. If you guys have any talking points that you want to be known, please email me those. I will be reviewing those today in preparation of my meeting. Also, just some housekeeping items. If somebody wants to reach out to me, I don't know who designs stuff. Maybe somebody wants to take the lead on it. What I would like is I've got a paper cutter here. What I would like is, and I'll work with you on the design, but I just don't have time to design it. If I do, I will, but maybe somebody's a little better at this stuff than I know I have one beautiful gal that makes some thumbnails here and there that I use when I can, because I'm moving so quickly. I forget to check my emails to see if a new thumbnail's in there. So I try to change those out as needed from mine, because mine aren't near as good as the other ones. However, I'm looking for a flyer. I have an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. I have an opportunity to be around some people that will be able to help. And I want to I've got great stock paper here. I want something I can print like 4 of them to a page, and I can cut them into 4 little things and hand them out to people to bring attention to this major matter of the children and the need of changing the ICPC, I think is the name of it. I can't remember that's an whatever it's called, where you abbreviate it. It hasn't been changed since 1965. We've discussed that on here. So I would really like to have have something that I can easily pass out to people with my email and phone number on it. So if they need to get a hold of me or would like to explore things a little further, they'll be able to do so. But I want to get those handed out. Thank you, Steffers. I definitely want to have something I can hand out to people, because sometimes I have 5 minutes to speak to them. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just say, hey, look at this. And I'd like the link to the investigation for Harmony Montgomery. I think that was the most detailed of the issues and what really kind of inspired this idea of the centralized database for our kids. So I just want something that looks nice and professional, that can be cut, one piece of paper can be cut in 4 even sections, and I'll be able to cut those down and have a package to take with me decent stock papers. They just don't get crumpled up. They'll feel it. They can see it. And that just has a few bullet points of stuff that we're trying to hit home. So, hey, Mab, nice to see you. So if anybody would like to help me design that, that would be great. I will be leaving. I'll be leaving here in the near future for DC, so I can speak to people up there. So we are making progress. We're talking to attorneys about this. I'm talking to my own politicians about this. I'm talking to politicians from around the country about this, about our children, how we can make a difference, meaningful difference to help these babies. And that really is something that is needed. And not a whole lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of organizations that are fighting, but not a lot of people that are publicly fighting. And this is a public fight for the Bullhorn Betty channel. We want to make sure that this is, yelled from the rooftops about what needs to be done. And we are going to make a difference in this world. We will. And I would never have put so much time, energy, and money behind this channel if I really didn't think it was going to not only bring, these stories to you, but also make a difference. And I think that's what's missing in this industry. It's not just about talking about it. It's about seeing a major problem and working your butt off to fix that major problem. And that's what we try to do. And those are the people that we associate ourselves with here on this channel that have that in mind and want to move that needle forward. And that is exactly why I am around the people that I'm around. It's why I work with the YouTubers on these streets, the YouTubers that I work with. It's because those people, when you know that I'm associating with those people, you know that their hearts and souls are in this for the right reasons. And it's not just about the story. It's also about making meaningful difference and taking a problem and trying to fix it. So without further ado, I just wanted to tell you guys it is exciting. I have a great opportunity here to make a large impact in a short amount of time. And so I am going to take that opportunity. So getting to our language of letting go this morning, I just wanted to read it. I thought, this is a fun month. February is always a fun month. It's not the new year, we're already through January, and February really is like the next fun month, right? We have a lot of love this month. We have Valentine's Day, but I think sometimes we forget to, quit taking life so seriously. And that is really why I love the language of letting go, especially in February. It's really a fun month in this book as well. And February 21st is say woohoo wherever you are, right? I walked into the beach house after a day of work to find my friends, tormentors, Chip and Andy, standing by a window that dropped down to the beach. Actually, Chip was standing next to the window. Andy was outside, hanging by a climbing harness. The rope led into the house and was tied off around one of the main support beam. I didn't ask what they were doing. I just grabbed a climbing harness that was laying on the floor at Chip's feet, and I asked if I could try too. Rappelling from the house down to the beach is not my ordinary daily activity, but sometimes even the smallest, most ridiculous thing can be a change for a mini woohoo. That night, I learned to rappel in the moonlight on the beach from the living room of my house. Be open to new experience in your life. As long as it's not life-threatening, maybe it's okay, even if it's a little odd. Don't be afraid to be ridiculous, look uncool, or even let out the now and then. Have you had a woohoo lately? Have you got one on your list, or maybe in your garage? Put some rollerblades on, buy a surfboard, get out the sled, order something new off the menu, take a different road, find the woohoo, then carry it with you into your ordinary world and let it lighten your spirit. Woohoos are moments you'll remember the rest of your life. God, help me lighten my spirit and put a little woohoo into my life. So I thought that was a really good section. So we're going to have woohoo moments here. I hope you guys take them with you this week and learn to let go, let loose, and enjoy life. Don't just make it a rat race. Don't be the hamster on the wheel. You've got to break it up. You've got to learn to enjoy life. You've got to learn to be comfortable in your own skin. You got to go out there and find your harmony and your peace and your tranquility. But don't forget the fun. I think that as we grow up, we forget to dance in the rain. We forget to make the mud pies, right? We forget all the things that used to entertain us as children when we learned and knew how to have fun. So I hope everybody today and throughout the week has a woohoo time. So that's my little kick into today. And it's just to lighten the mood, because why? We have some really disgusting stuff to talk about today. That is correct. Some really disgusting stuff to talk about. Yesterday was beautiful. Birds chirping. Aw, birds chirping, flowers blooming, family dinner to celebrate my father who passed last year. Heading to Florida in April to see my bonus daughter and her husband. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Well, when you get to Florida, depending on where you are, make sure you let me know. Maybe we'll go grab lunch. And I probably, they had an event. If Cindy O is in here, they had an event yesterday. And it was on my mind, and I almost wanted to go back to West Palm Beach, but I decided the house cleaning took top priority. I got to get my priorities together, right? And even though I know I need to loosen up and have a little fun, I can't do it when when my house is in shambles. I'm looking around, I'm like, what has this come to? Like, I got crap here, I got crap. They're in my piles, because I have to grab stuff as I walk out the door, but I never like to leave it in the car, so I bring it inside the house. It just starts piling up after a while. So we got 2 new end tables done. We got the living room kind of put back together. So, but anyways, I was thinking of Cindy O, because West Palm Beach did have an event last night, and would have loved to have gone, but I just couldn't. I just had entirely too much stuff here that needed to get done. So at the end of the day, that's where it's at. But it's nice to hear that, Christina. Nice to hear that. Sorry about the loss in your family. I'm sure it's still pretty hard, but it's still nice that you guys are still celebrating and honoring. And that's what's really good. So now that I'm done with I'm kind of done with my reading. I'll have to put those back on. I'm noticing my eyes are starting to change ever so slightly, right? Oh, and I gave myself a microderm abrasion. So I even took out a little time for myself yesterday for a little bit of skincare. So this next story, oh, thank you, Jennifer. Nice to see you. So this next story it's kind of really, really sad, but it's a little different than the stories that we typically cover on here. Typically when we start with a story, we're starting with a child that usually is presumed missing, right? Is presumed missing. That's kind of how we, more or less start our particular, hey, Mike, nice to see you, Mike Stevens. How we typically start our cases out. This one wasn't like that. This one is more gut-wrenching than that. And we're not going to pay so much attention on the parents as we usually do. And we're going to start paying attention to law enforcement and the Department of Children and Family Services in Detroit, because what I am reading, what I am learning this morning, it's going to blow your mind that a child has lost its life. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Law enforcement and the Department of Children and Family Services knew of this abuse years before this child got in this condition. And as we learned through the Idaho 4, death is a medical condition. And that is the condition of this child. So it's been very heartbreaking to me to hear of this. And so I thought, we do usually focus on the parents in situations like this, telling what they've done. But here we have a situation. It's almost like It's not, but it is. It's almost like a Leilani Simon situation where law enforcement knew and did nothing. They let these parents still lay in their bed and go to sleep at night. They still let them in control of their children. It is very, very sad. So there is the despicable mother. We haven't even gotten to the father yet, but let's just read this article and then we'll come back and watch this Zoom meeting. So parents of 2 Detroit boys are facing charges after they allegedly killed one of their son and abused the other one. It sounds like both of these children were abused. Shane Robert Shelton, 27, and Valerie Lynn Hamilton, 27, were arrested over the weekend and charged with felony murder, 2 counts of first-degree child abuse, 1 count of torture, 1 count of conspiracy to commit torture. In order to get there's the garbage parents right there that did this. Shelton and Hamilton are accused of murdering their child, who was Hamilton's son and Shelton's stepson. The baby suffered from very severe abuse throughout his life and I tried to report this last year. I had pictures. I took him to the hospital myself. Ethan's aunt, Ashley Belcher, said, yes, the entire family had been reaching out to law enforcement, had been reaching out to caseworkers, had been trying to do everything they can to remove these children from this home, and they hit roadblocks. Took pictures, took the child to the hospital, did everything they were supposed to do that we are told as a public. If you do these things, the social workers, the law enforcement will help you. If you do these things and you call and you're an advocate for this child, they will help, right? Right? That's what we're taught? Okay. Ashley Belcher said Ethan and his younger, I think it was a typo, younger brother were abused numerous times in front of 5 other children who lived in the home. Investigators believe Shelton and Hamilton, and we're going to be very cautious what we say, but here it is right there. I'm sure you guys can read that yourself on the screen. If you guys aren't on your large screen, you might want to do it. No different than the malice murder charge that Leilani received. Similar situations. He didn't even have a chance to have a good life. I wanted to give him a good life, Ashley Belcher said. He was very happy, loving, had a lot of energies, as boys always do. He loved going to parks with his brother. The couple also accused of abusing their 3-year-old son, who was discovered with bruises on his head and face. Police responded to 14660 block of Spring Garden Street just after 1 p.m. Sunday and saw medics taking Ethan to an EMS truck. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The 3-year-old who survived was later found at another home. He was taken to the hospital. Ashley Belcher believes the system failed her nephew. She says she tried to take Ethan in, but she isn't related to his little brother, and the courts wanted to keep them together. I'm sorry, but a situation like this, I don't give a damn what the courts want to do. Sometimes, saving a child's life is more important than keeping them together. And not only that, but what would have prevented her? I mean, if strangers from the foster care system can take care of the boys, why can't a woman take care of the boys? Is my question. Why can't she take care of both of them, whether they are related to her or not? Because in the foster care system, nobody's related to anybody, right? She can go through the same background check. Why did they prevent her from doing that? I just think CPS feels like parents. The mother deserves a chance after chance. I don't see how a mother who allows that to happen one time deserves a chance, she said. And many of us agree with that. Ethan had an older brother too. He's saying he is staying with Ashley. So it sounds like this Ashley lady is a very kind soul. And so let's go back up here. And again, the garbage parents right there. There's no excuse for this. I mean, there's no excuse to treat any child like that. She's got a head bandage on. I'm curious as to why, but let's just see if we can get heads or tails from this Zoom.
This small thing is the next big.
Yeah, give me just a second. We got 12 seconds of this and I'll turn it back on. This makes
diabetes management.
I mean, he didn't even have a chance to have a good life. I wanted to give him a good life.
A 5-year-old robbed of his own life. His aunt, Ashley Belcher, shared these photos of her nephew Ethan with his older brother. Snapshots of happier times that are now just memories.
Tell me about Ethan. What kind of kid was he?
He was a really happy, loving.
Now, it is my understanding this lady here constantly kept law enforcement and the Department of Children and Family Services up to date on the well-being of this child. She had been working very, very diligently, very hard to try to get these children out of this home so they could have a good life. And she was met with stone walls. Stone walls. They gave her no hope of helping this situation. And you can see how distraught she is because she had been trying so hard, so very hard to get this child into her custody for his survival. This is a bad, bad case.
Had a lot of energy, as boys always do. He loved going to the parks with his brother.
Ethan Belcher died over the weekend. Investigators believe his biological mom and stepfather beat him to death.
This baby suffered some very severe abuse through his life. And I tried to report it last year. I had pictures. I took them to the hospital myself.
Are you surprised at any of this?
I'm appalled.
The child's parents, Valeria Hamilton and Shane Shelton, appeared in court Wednesday. They face murder, child abuse, and torture charges. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says Detroit police responded to Hamilton's and Shelton's home Sunday for initial reports.
I don't know why she has that head dressing on her hair. I can't tell if it's to cover her head or because she has a head injury. I'm unclear about that. But I can tell you, in my opinion, she deserves to be where she's at. I am curious what is under that orange jumpsuit because you can see something around her neck, like a shirt or something, stringy. So I don't know, she shouldn't have nothing but jailhouse clothes on. So I'm curious what is under those clothes. I can see poking out through the orange jumpsuit. That color looks very good on that woman, if you ask me.
Of an unknown problem. At that time, first responders put Ethan in an ambulance. He died at the hospital. Then at another location, police say they noticed bruises on Ethan's 3-year-old brother's head and face. Ashley Belcher says both parents abused Ethan and his 3-year-old brother before.
Sorry, guys. So there they are. There's the parents that are accused of doing this horrible stuff. But again, this is not the topic of conversation. And see that shirt she's wearing? You see those strings around her? Those are the strings that I see under that orange jumpsuit. And my question is, usually they make you undress and put on the orange jumpsuit. So I'm curious as to what, if she's wearing that purple top under that orange jumpsuit, because it sure looked like she was.
The other 5 children in the home witnessed it repeatedly.
Why do you think, no matter how many times you tried to step in and help, it just didn't happen?
I just think that the CPS just feels like parents or the mothers deserve chance after chance.
And I absolutely disagree. And I have to be honest with you. Here's what. When I was talking to one of my county commissioners, we're doing really good here because when I was sitting down with him and he was the chair of the Safe Children's Coalition here in Manatee County. It covers 3 counties, DeSoto County, Sarasota County, and Manatee County, our district, District 12. And so we were going through it, and I was going through all these cases and of, like Harmony and Summer. And he's like, are they in Florida? Are they in Florida? So it seems like, not that we're perfect here in Florida. And this is just a small section of a large piece of property. Florida's pretty big, right? But it seems to me that Florida does have it right. It sounds like through our Safe Children's Coalition here in the 12th District, a lot of these things they're doing right. But the one thing that this particular county commissioner told me, which was, it almost makes me cringe when I hear it, they want to keep the family unit together. And it's hard to break that thought process because, yes, parents that really care for their children, that really want their children, yeah, I think we need to make sure that they have every opportunity to get their children back. But there are just some parents that don't ever deserve to have their children again. Second chance is out the window. Like that poor little boy that lost his leg that I mistaken this case with. That poor little boy that lost his leg because his parents kept him out in a trailer like a dog, changing the toilet once or twice a day, and he had no windows and gave him 3 little heaters to keep himself warm. Now he's got frostbite so bad that it ate his foot. So it's like you hear these horrible, horrific things that are going on, and it's like, how can nobody know? You know damn well these houses typically have multiple visits by law enforcement for an array of things, from drug activity to domestic violence issues to alcohol issues to stuff like that. Why are they not reporting when they see these houses completely trashed and inhabitable? Why are they not turning those over to the Department of Children and Family Services and saying, hey, you guys need to go here. You need to look at this. You need to do something. These children are living in squalor. It's very rare that you see a law enforcement body reach out to the Department of Children and Family Services and say, hey, we need this. And so when I was speaking to this particular commissioner, I told them about my concerns, how I don't believe it should be the Department of Children and Family Services doing criminal investigations. It should be the other way around, law enforcement doing it. We need forced cooperations from state to state. We had a very meaningful conversation, and he was short on time. So we actually made a second meeting at the end of March to pick up our conversations to help find out what we can do better, at least in our district, what we can control. And so that's where we're at with that. So we've got some progress. I mean, I do like, from the conversation I had, how and I did bring up, if you're removing a child permanently from a home, there should be some charges. There should be some child charges. And I gave it a prime example of, Summer Wells' case. The parents, have lost all these children permanently, 2 sets of permanent children before they had Summer and the boys. And both sets of children taken completely out of their custody, completely. The states are taking not one child abuse charge to them, not one child neglect charge to them. Yet we have 4 new mouths to feed. And that was 20 years ago. Now we fast forward to today, and we have 3 new mouths to feed on the taxpayer dime because 3 children were yet removed from their home. And again, not one charge. And I have a problem with one judge in the family courts overseeing a process like this. This should be handled. This should be true due process, and this should be handled by a jury. That is my opinion. It should all be handled by a jury. I don't think it should be handled by one lone judge making decisions on behalf of all these children. If they do wrong so much so that they have had to have their children removed, one time I can understand giving them a break, wanting them to go through parenting classes, wanting them to do this. I get that. Your first time, okay, you screwed up. Now you've given them an opportunity. Nice to see you, Frankie. Now you give them an opportunity to go to parenting classes and do that. But by the second time, they know better. And if they still can't get it by the second time, it's time for you to step up. It's time for them to be, handcuffed and taken to court and say, hey, you've already been through this process 1. What happened? Why are we back here? But we have 3 sets of children taken and not one charge, not one child welfare charge against either parent. I have a problem with that. So that's not the most disturbing. We know that auntie was trying to get these children back. We know that. We know that the aunt was working her tail end off to try to save these children. And she was hit constantly with walls and roadblocks from her getting there. So Michigan family calls for transparency after 5-year-old dies. And this is in Lansing, Michigan. And let me tell you, I've had an opportunity to deal with somebody here in Bradenton, and it's my mechanic. And he was dealing with some stuff with child custody stuff in Michigan with his ex. They said Michigan is so effed up in their practices with children, they're surprised more aren't deceased. That's how screwed up Michigan has it. They are so into keeping the family unit together that they are putting all these children in harm's way to show face to their constituents. That is the fact. To show face to their constituents. Well, people like me that know that abuse can really harm children, not just in their childhood, but in their adult life and for years to come. So I believe that it's only should be a family reunification if needed. If needed. Because for somebody like, in all fairness, somebody like the Wells that have had so many children taken from them, listen, they are never going to get it right. If they haven't gotten it right after 3 decades, 2 decades, they're not getting it right now. They're not going to change their behavior now. That would not be one that I would promote for reunification. Some people may hate me for that. Some people may agree with me. It is what it is. That's my opinion. But in Lansing, Michigan, a family is mourning while trying to fix what they say is a broken system. Ethan Belcher, 5, died near Detroit last week, and now his parents are facing charges. Ethan's aunt said Child Protective Services knew about the abuse. Now the family hopes a proposal just introduced in Michigan Senate allows CPS to release some information to people who hold the agency accountable. That's another problem we've been talking about. This idea that privacy applies to everything and keeps the public out of it because they scream privacy. No, you guys are still employed by we the people, and we expect you to answer our questions when things like this happen. And something like this to allow CPS to release information to people who hold the agency accountable needs to be across this country. And I also propose that we label these children with numbers. So when we ask for public records, we get public records that are redacted that hold the privacy of these children and the parents from, well, the parents, they're over 18. They don't need privacy. But for their children, they do. And I think that they need to be, if I go and do a FOIA request, I don't want to be hit with, this is privacy reasons. You label those children with numbers. Child 1, child 2, child 3, child 4, child 5. You label the case 001 or 2003 001, 0015, 0023. I don't care what the hell you label it, but you can label it so we can get access to the files, so we can make sure the department is doing what they are supposed to be doing. They are pushing for new laws to improve accountability so another child doesn't die. Let's quit trying to make laws that improve accountability, and let's open up this system and realize that they are not above the people that pay their bills, i.e. we. Ultimately, the system failed these babies, said Ashley Belcher, Ethan Belcher's aunt. He was in a horrific situation. It's one of the worst nightmares about what kids went through, what these kids went through. Belcher says Ethan and his little brother were living in a house of terror for years before Ethan died. She told WDIV Ethan had more than 100 cigarette burns, even missing a toe. She shared pictures with News 7 of bruises on Ethan's face. Belcher said she called CPS several times. I had begged and pleaded for them to help these babies before something happened, said Belcher. Despite that, Ethan ended up back with his parents. State Senator Jim Runestad, if I said his name right, said he used to be a foster parent. He wanted to change the laws so sitting lawmakers and news outlets can get information. He said in his proposal will help hold CPS accountable. Yes, we need to hold these entities without a doubt accountable. The number one job of the government is to protect the people, particularly little kids like this. That's the number one job. I couldn't agree more. Confidentiality of CPS records has been a part of state law for decades. The confidentiality requirements in the state and federal law protects the children who have been abused and neglected and their siblings from the additional trauma of having the intimate details of their alleged abuse and neglect made public. But Belcher said that means some kids fall through the crack. And again, why don't you just label them instead of putting their name in the reports, label them with numbers? That will keep their names and identities out of transparency and accountability issues. There's a lot of things that can be done if somebody with a half of a brain cell can figure it out. But we're dealing with the government, and I don't care what side of the government you like. They're all. When it comes to this crap, it's crap. It's across the board. It's across the board. Belcher said Ethan's younger brother is currently in foster care. So the boy can be with strangers. The brother can be with strangers, but let Ashley try to take one of the children in. She can't take the other one in because she's not a relative, a blood relative of that child. But hey, let's throw them into foster care where nobody's a blood relative. Nobody has, like the foster care system is not already drowning in the Detroit area. This is just sad. And how does it make it make sense? You would rather throw a child into a foster care system where he knows nobody than allow him to go to a family friend's house or his brother's friend's family's house for what? Because your foster care system isn't already full to capacity. You don't need somebody willing to take that other child in. You would think that they would try to keep the boys together, even if it's with a family member that's not family to both of them, to keep them out of the foster care system. Because again, what does it matter if the woman's not blood related to the second sibling? What does it matter? You're sending him to foster care. Who's he related to in foster care? These are the kinds of garbage decisions that make no sense to a normal person. None. And here we're going to start getting a little more disturbing, and then I'm going to open up the phone. Oh, sorry. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines and see what you guys think of all of this. But let me get back to sharing my screen. Oh, which reminds me, before I forget. Before I go on to that one real quick, and we're just going to take a break from this. I forgot to give a big shout out to, we got a Stream Deck. This was from the Truth We Hide. Thank you, by the way, for your contribution. I got to figure out how to hook this up. Probably should have done it yesterday, but too busy having fun watching comedies and cleaning the house. I didn't have time to look into this. The important things, right? So I just wanted to read this. It's very sweet. Thank you so much, Truth We Hide, the Truth We Hide. I hope this helps you some. I wanted to help you with what you needed for your channel to help you keep doing what you do. I don't have a lot of money, but hopefully this helps. Much love, Sahara, from Truth We Hide. So again, Truth We Hide, thank you so much. This will come in handy. The reason why I remembered this is because I'm bouncing through these channels on a StreamYard. Well, this hooks right up to StreamYard, and I should be able to use it. I just got to get it programmed to get my hotkeys scheduled or put on there. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. That was found on the Bullhorn Betty wish list. And again, just thank you. Because of the trolls and everything, the haters, the cockroaches and jellyfish, we've removed quantities because we were learning on dollies. They were putting stuff in their carts, but not paying for them, and it was pulling them off. So now I have to go in there and manually remove them when they're purchased. And that's what I'm doing, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. I'm happy to do it just to help. And as you guys know, I'm not in my chair. I'm back in my old chair before my pink chair. I got sick of sitting here watching stuff and watching me go. Ooh. So I'm back in the old chair that I replaced that with. Can you believe this cheap chair, which is not the most comfortable, but this cheap chair has outlasted that expensive gaming chair. I haven't even had that. I've had that chair a little over a year for the price I paid for that chair, to have it for only a little over a year. And then I'm starting to scoop my bottom on my floor. I'm very upset about that. I'm heartbroken, but you know, things happen for a reason. I'm back in the old chair. It fits my little, because I told you I have degenerate back disease and scoliosis. So I got my little mat. My memory foam seat cushion is actually fits this chair a lot better than the other chair anyway. So the other chair is going out to the garbage. So any of my haters that like to monitor and watch and stalk me, if you want my chair, I'll even sign it. I'll even sign Bullhorn Betty on the chair for you. So you have a nice little gift from Bullhorn Betty. Might have a middle finger on it, but either way, come and get it. Come and get it. Did I just miss somebody? Hold on, I did. Oh, crazy cat lady. You're going to Ohio Public Town Hall meeting. Are you going to the Ohio Public Town Hall meeting February 24th? Aaron Brockovich will be there about trail derailment. Just to take a little side note, just to break this up, because we're talking about this CPS and them not doing their job, and as a result, we're having children dying. So I'm going to take a break from that because you brought up a valuable point. There was another explosion in Ohio yesterday. I don't know if you guys heard it. It was at a factory, and here's my thing. I'm having some really uneasy feelings right now. And I want everybody to be safe. But I have to be honest with you. I have some uneasy feelings about what's going on right now. We have shot down at least 1 or 2 spy balloons over the United States. Okay. We had a huge derailment in Ohio that exploded, causing many harmful chemicals to escape. And then the government had to do a controlled burn. And a lot of animals lost their life through that controlled burn that they say should not be harming animals. We've got sick foxes. We've got dead fish everywhere. We've got chickens that are dying in their cages. It's really, really bad. And what's Palestine or Palestine, whatever you want to call it. I'm not, again, pronunciations, tomato type of situation. Car, right? So it really depends on how you speak as to the termination. But we had another one that happened at a factory in Ohio, and it's scaring me. It is scaring me. I know that we're going to hear that was probably from some mistake, some chemical, but I'm sorry. 2 explosions, 2 huge explosions in Ohio scare me. And then you have the spy balloons that are coming down. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to sit here and say that I do know what's going on, but I can tell you I trust my gut, and my gut is telling me something is majorly going on here, and I don't know what it is. And when I can't put my finger on it, it concerns me. It concerns me gravely. And so I want everybody out there to be safe. If you see something, say something right now. And this is not even about child abuse or anything. This is just across the board. You know, we're all here together. You know, we all have to live with some kind of, you know, normalcy. But what's going on right now doesn't feel very normal to me. A lot of things don't feel very normal to me. So I just want you guys all to please be safe. It is a scary world out there. I don't want to scare anybody and say that we're under attack or anything like that. You know, it may just be a coincidence, but it's too much of a coincidence that makes me it just makes me very uncomfortable. And I don't want people, American citizens, losing their lives over whatever is going on. Thank you, Jennifer, for that. So guys, just be safe. And if you're in like the Michigan, the upper states here in the United States, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, all those things, please be safe. Please be vigilant. Please, please, please just be on the lookout for any weird stuff. If you hear weird talks, if you see something posted online, just call it in. I don't know what's going on, but, just please be safe and stay safe. So that's kind of, thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, it's a little crazy. I love Aaron Brockovich. Many of you guys don't know that Aaron Brockovich was one of the reasons why I wanted to become I have been entrenched in law since I was a kid. I was very interested, even when I was a young girl. I watched Columbo and Perry Mason and Andy Griffin. And, it sounds pretty stupid, but it just shows you how interesting the law was for me and how it affected my life at such a young age. I wanted to be a Perry Mason. I wanted to be, Columbo, and then as I was going to school, this story of Aaron Brockovich came up. And I remember one of our field trips for my college was to go and watch the Aaron Brockovich movie, because it really showed you the benefit of what a great paralegal, even though she was not a trained, a skilled trained paralegal, she used her common sense. And I think that really was the name of the game. She used her common sense. She knew something didn't seem right, something didn't sound right, and became one of the most powerful and well-known paralegals in our country that we know. They did an entire movie on this lady. And I got to say, Juanita Broderick, she's a very nice lady. I haven't had the privilege of meeting her in person, but we are friends on social media. So again, she is just a very much of an inspiration to me. But yeah, there's something not right here. And I don't know if this is a chemical issue at that plant, or if this truly was an attack. I just found it awfully odd that we had two explosions in Ohio so close together. It just doesn't feel right to me. And that's just all I'm trying to say. So let me get back to this story. We'll open up the phone lines. God bless each and every one of you. Palestine. Thank you. Thank you, Emmy. Humans are going to be affected too. Yeah. So lots of weird stuff going on, just lots of weird stuff. And I feel like we're just not really being protected right now. And I don't know why I have that feeling, but who knows? I hope I'm wrong. Here's where it kind of starts getting a little dicey for me here in this particular article. Family, CPS, Lincoln Park Police knew a 5-year-old abuse years. You see that S on the end of that? Years before his death. And this is what is really causing me such heartburn with this case, because it's not really, usually, like I said, we're usually talking about the case, talking about the parents, diving into the parents' background, trying to find anybody that's willing to talk about this case and do this. But that's not the point of this segment here. This segment here is about our broken child welfare system that we keep seeing over and over and over again. And we can keep talking about these cases, or we can start talking about and shaming the people that are causing these cases to exist. The bottom line is I don't expect social workers to be Superman, or superheroes, but I expect them to do their damn job. That's what I expect from them. And no matter what state or county we go in, we find these glaring issues with the system. And they're the same darn glaring issues from state to state. People knew and did nothing. The whole reason why I'm meeting with this attorney on the 23rd is because his client lost his granddaughter in Tennessee for the same type of stuff. The family was calling in and calling in and calling in, and nobody was doing a damn thing. Except what got me all up in arms is Tennessee decides to come on and make a statement. Well, all the stuff that comes in is we can't see where it comes from. They're all anonymous, and we got to go to the courts. No, you gotta go and check on their allegation first before you even go to the courts and ask for a removal. You got to see if it's warranted. And they're pushing it off like, oh, well, we have these processes. No, you failed to even go out there and address the situation and preview the situation. You're talking out of the left side of your mouth. And so I reached out to that attorney, and that's what this conversation is about. And here we are, Michigan, Detroit, right on the outskirts of Detroit, Michigan. Here is the same type of situation, family calling and begging for help, and nobody did a darn thing. It fell on deaf ears. They got to keep the family unit together. Well, you're keeping that family unit together so much so the kids are dying in the family's care. Ethan Belcher's family called protective services more than a dozen times during his short life. 2 of his aunts said, with one of them saying Belcher went through pure torture during the past few years before he died earlier this month. The 5-year-old boy found dead January 22nd in a Detroit home said Aunt Candace Rush dubbed it the House of Horrors. His mother, and they said it's spelled Valerie, but the man on the that one segment called her something different. So I need to get the pronunciation of her first name. And stepfather Shane Shelton were charged with murder, torture, and abuse in connection with Easton's death and the alleged abuse of his 3-year-old brother. And mind you, they had 5 other children in that home as well. Wayne County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Makepeace. I wanted to say that's a freaking joke. His last name literally is Makepeace. 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 Said last week during Shelton and Hamilton's arraignment that other kids in the home told investigators Shelton and Hamilton would beat them and force them to remain in the basement of the house, which was filled with sewage water and feces. Makepeace said calling the dwelling a house calling the dwelling a house was generous and described as somewhere between I don't know. It says generous, but I don't think that's what they're meaning. And described it as somewhere between an abandoned home and a construction site. I did see the house. It was not conducive of these children being there. And I'm curious who did the home study. Who did the home study for this? Some of these images you're going to see in this article might upset you. So just FYI. At the time of his death, Ethan had bruises in shapes of loops on his body, indicating an object like a cord was used to make those marks, and multiple abrasion, Makepeace said. One of his toes had gangrene and rotted and was rotting and black. He said his aunt Ashley Belcher said this was from frostbite. The 3-year-old had frostbitten toes as well, she said. So, I mean, this is horrific. This wasn't the first time Ethan had been hurt, Rush and Belcher said. They first called CPS sometime before Ethan turned 2 years old. He was 5 when he died. So over 3 years, they've been trying to get these children out of these parents' custody. And you know who's fought them tooth and nail? The Department of Children and Family Services and the police. They fought them tooth and nail to keep these kids in that home so Ethan can die a slow death. And I'm going to say it just like that because CPS needs to wake up. They need to wake up. He was so skinny when relatives saw him, they could count every rib, she said, but CPS told them he was not malnourished. I don't know what CPS considers malnourished or not, but that boy right there looks pretty stinking malnourished to me. Every rib in his body, his skin at that young age is literally sagging off his bones. CPS has some explaining to do. This is what by far one of the most egregious cases I have personally covered, with CPS being so involved and knowing so much and still allowed this poor child to be injured over and over and over again. I'm not even mad at the parents at this point. I'm mad at the people that had an opportunity to change this boy's life and chose not to. The people that should have known about this abuse knew and did nothing. They knew and did nothing. In 2021, Ashley Belcher said she took the boy to the hospital when Hamilton's mother brought him to her, beaten from head to toe. He had welts all over his head. His eye was swollen, almost split open. His hands were swollen. He had bruises across his ribs, legs, buttocks. She said so much he could hardly sit. Ethan was a precious boy, and he did not deserve to go through what he went through, which was pure torture, Belcher said. Lincoln Park Police investigated and sent a warrant requesting for child abuse charges to Wayne County prosecutor in October 2021. The assistant prosecutor, Maria Miller, said prosecutors returned the warrant to police in February 2022 and asked them to conduct further investigation. The request never went any further. They had an arrest warrant for these parents, and it never went forward. Let that sink in. The people I'm pissed off in this case is not the parents. The parents are despicable. They didn't deserve these children. And the people that were responsible for making sure that these children were safe once they found out the allegations did nothing. Nothing. Lincoln Park Police did not respond to a request for comment, but Chief Raymond Waters told Fox News that Ethan suffered minor injuries in 2021, and prosecutors denied the warrant request. I call bullshit. BS. Raymond Waters, you deserve to be fired. If this happened under your watch, you need to take your badge and gun off and leave them on your desk and put your retirement request in, because I'm telling you, this is sick. There is no excuse. None. None. Minor injuries, my ass. Maybe by the time you looked at him, all his injuries were healed. But you know what you do? You investigate. You make them go into, you have CPS take them to the doctors, find out what kind of injuries they are. You have witnesses. You have photos. I'm telling you, it looks like Miss Belcher sure had a pile of photos she could have handed over outlining this abuse that this child went under. Look at that child's eye right there. Explain that to me. They failed him to, Belcher said. Lincoln Police said of Lincoln Park Police involvement. They just ignored it and swept it under the rug. They sure did. That's the way it looks from where I sit. Every time family members tried to protect the kids, Ashley Belcher said, CPS would hand them right back to their parents. Rush said the kids were taken from Hamilton and Shelton at least twice. Belcher said Shelton's sister told her she called CPS 8 times. This is not just one person calling in. This is the entire family raising hell with CPS, begging them to help these children, and they did nothing. This is not a short-staffed problem. This is not doing a job problem. This is not a money problem in this thing. This is their staff not doing their job. If I was above this CPS, every single person involved would be fired. Fired. It's not about quantity. It's about the quality of your staff. Get people that give a damn. 8 times. Michigan Department of Health and Human Services spoke to Bob Wheaton, said he could not comment on CPS case because of state law. Of course. Go back to that state law. We're about to rock your boat with that state law. That's what I'm working on. That's exactly what we're working on. I'm tired of getting this BS boilerplate response. We can't talk because of state law. There's a child dead. Somebody better be fucking talking. Excuse my language. Sorry about that. I meant frickin' talking. Somebody better be frickin' talking. Somebody better be telling people what in the heck is going on. This privacy garbage is out the window when a child dies, because I want to know what the heck happened here. Because what this is looking like, it's looking like nobody did a damn thing for these children. And a child is now dead when the police and the CPS knew of the abuse. Trust me, my anger's not with the parents at this moment. Michigan State Department of Health and Human Services was extremely saddened to hear about Ethan Belcher's death, and the department expresses its condolences. Wheaton said in a statement, "You know what? We're sick and tired of hearing your condolences. Let me just be clear for the rest of America. If you guys are watching Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, nobody cares about your damn apology. Nobody cares. I certainly do not care to hear I'm sorry and sending condolences to the family. You know what I want to hear? How you are going to put policies in place so this never happens again. What I want to hear is your internal investigative report telling us how something like this can happen. I don't care to hear I'm sorry. The things her 6-year-old nephew, Ethan's brother, who was living with her, has told her gives her nightmares. Ashley Belcher said the boy told her Shelton busted his head open with a pipe and didn't take him to the hospital. When she checked his head, she could see a deep scar. She already had him scheduled for a CT scan to make sure he is okay. The 6-year-old was close to Ethan. They were born on the same day, a year apart, she said. He's adjusting to her home, but is struggling without Ethan. He doesn't understand what happened, but Belcher says she shows her how Ethan was positioned when he died and told her how he looked. She's scared he's going to have nightmares about the abuse. And meanwhile, law enforcement and the Detroit Department of Children and Family Services allowed this to happen. We're going to put blame where blame is due. The parents are despicable. We get that. We get that. In any other normal case, I would be up the crawl of these parents. But everything that we are taught to do, if you see something, you say something, be the squeaky wheel, get this stuff done. This whole entire family was the squeaky wheel, and it did literally nothing because they were hit with roadblocks by their own Department of Children and Family Services and their own legal law enforcement department. They did literally nothing. Oh, it's just minor injuries. Really? I would like to know, Lincoln Police Chief, do you think these are minor injuries now? Do you? I guarantee you are a failure as a police chief. I guarantee your community is a failure because you're the police chief. This happened under your watch. You should be utterly ashamed. When stuff like this happens, we should be firing these people, these heads. These voted in office should be recalled. The chief of police should have to stand down and step down. Somebody needs to be held accountable. And I don't want a scapegoat called lower employees. I want the heads of the department's heads to roll. The people in top, I'm sick of these scapegoats. Oh, we're going to let the lower social worker that was overworked, that was told by a supervisor, just pass it along, right? We know that happens. I'm sick of them getting fired when it's the top brass giving those instructions. It's them that needs to go, not the little person down below. It's the head of the snake that needs to be removed. This has got me hot. There's a few more of them, but we're not going to go and push all this in right away. I know that many are probably boiling over right now hearing this. And believe me, we're about to make them hear our voices. Come tomorrow on our live, I'm going to make sure we have their phone numbers, their addresses, their email addresses, and we are going to start pushing the pressure of the Bullhorn Betty channel right down their throats. We're going to bring the collaboration, hopefully with heels on the ground, to bring more into this, because something like this is an injustice. Something like this requires a bullhorn. Something like this should be protested. This is an injustice in Michigan. This is the injustice in Detroit. I promise you, people all over Detroit are probably sick of these very departments. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to bring the shit show to their front door. Upsetting. That's the best word I can use. Anger, frustration. How I felt when I went down to Chatham County or up to Chatham County is how I feel about this case right now. I can feel it in my blood, boiling over, needing and longing to do something. Needing and longing to do something, because I never, ever want to hear that people that could have changed these boys' lives knew this years before this child died. Years. There is no excuse. I am very passionate when it comes to these children. I am working myself to the bone to stop this from happening. And we are trying to get things in place so the system works, or at least starts helping. And then we hear things like this, where they just shoved it under the rug, didn't do anything. What's the point? What's the point? We have no kill shelters across this country, and God forbid one animal that is violent gets euthanized and the whole world is ready to implode. But we have a system in place to take care of our children, and they send these children back to violent homes to be slaughtered. Explain that to me. Make that make sense to me. This is the society we're living in now. Many of you guys don't know, my father was a product of the foster care system, and why I don't hold grudges with, some of the life that I lived. Thank you, Jennifer L. Some of the life that I had to live with my father. He did the best he could with what he was given. I can guarantee you he treated our family much better than his family was treated. He was the reason our cycle of drugs and alcohol was broken, even though he is still broken. But he broke at least our immediate family cycle. We don't have children being left in malnutrition. He was an alcoholic and did horrible things when he was drinking. But whenever he was sober, he was the best father in the whole entire world. So, I got good memories. I got bad memories. It affected me through my upbringing. Everybody hears about the women with daddy issues, right? Right. So, I'm going to open the phone lines. I want to hear if my audience is as upset about this as me, and what do you think we can do, as a group to make a difference? I mean, that really is what we're trying to do here, is make a difference. And some days are harder than others, but we're here for a purpose. And I got to be honest with you. It started out with Summer's Army, and Summer's Army has morphed. Oh, thank you. Let's go to Lansing. I'm on board. Yeah, absolutely. But can you imagine, like, I want to do a huge protest in front of the Department of Children and Family Services and Lincoln Police. This is Betty.
Betty.
Hey, Mab, what's shaking, bacon?
Been up all night.
I saw you on Dolly's panel.
Yeah, I was on Dolly's panel.
So this is the case that I was talking about, not this morning, but yesterday morning when I
saw that.
Yeah.
One that lost his leg below the knee.
That was another case. I thought that when I heard about the frostbite on this one, I thought this was an update of that case. Those are two different cases.
Son of a bitch.
Yes.
Oh, Lord. CPS shouldn't only be, they should be prosecuted.
Yes. I think
and the police chief as well.
They should be. I think you're absolutely right. Maybe that needs to be in part of this stuff, this campaigning I'm doing.
Yeah. And to have everything be secret when these kids are getting beat to death is total bullshit.
I agree. Something definitely needs to be done.
I love babies. I mean, I had my daughter, and my ex-wife was a meth head. And so I took her, I told her, I said, you got to go to a rehab or I'm going to take the kid away from you. So her mother and her tried to steal her and take her across state lines to Alaska. But I knew her father worked at Elmendorf Air Force Base, and I called the Air Force Base. I said, you got an enlisted man involved in the kidnapping across state lines. This kind of stuff goes to the media.
Yeah.
They had him in the brig within like half an hour. So when the mother called him to check in, he said, what the hell is going on? You take that kid back to Santa Cruz County immediately.
Yeah.
I got her back, but they still wouldn't give me custody of her. They gave her custody to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I've had no record, no criminal record, nothing. And they still wouldn't give me custody of my own damn daughter.
Yeah, and you know what?
Then they accused me of child molestation because my daughter had a diaper rash. And I said, take her to the police station immediately and have her examined by a doctor. And she had diaper rash.
Yeah.
I wanted to go wipe out that whole damn rehab. I was the only man that ever made it into that place.
Right.
On Thanksgiving because they just, and I gave them piss tests. And then I knew they were going to screw me, so I went to Dominican Hospital down the street and got another piss test on Father's Day and had to watch the guy die.
Yeah.
And I tried to give them the clean piss test, and they wouldn't take it. So even out here in California, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, my problem is that, typically we attach, overworking, being underpaid, understaffed, all these things as contributing factors to these cases. And this is not one of those times. I call a spade a spade. This is a complete breakdown of the system that is there to protect our children with people that didn't want to do their damn job.
3 years of complaints and they never even did a welfare check?
Well, they did. Apparently they took the children out of their care for at least twice, but they turned around and gave them right back.
That is amazing.
And not only that, but you take them out of the care one time. That's, like I said, everybody, needs, but they went through the system one time. They got their kids back. Now, by the second time, there needs to be a little more hand holding. When was the last check of this child's home? And not only that, but who approved these children of living in that dump? They said it was close to an abandoned house / construction site. Who approved those children living there? Who said that was a safe environment for 7 children?
Somebody went on site and inspected that place and let it go?
They obviously gave the children back not once, but twice.
Good Lord. This system needs to be, I think they need to fire the whole damn CPS to start over.
Yeah. When you have stuff like this happening, that and the police had a warrant and they chose not to serve it on the parents back in February.
I know the prosecutor ought to be charged too.
And 11 months later, the child's dead.
This burns my britches.
Yep. I agree.
Shelton's. Belcher was the aunt.
Yeah, Ashley Belcher is the aunt, begged and pleaded for them. And not only that, but it wasn't just one aunt. It was 2 separate aunts. It was the family calling in. It was the family making these reports. And then the one aunt, Ashley Belcher, wanted to take the boys in, and CPS told them that they couldn't because she was not a biological family member of one of the kids. The stepbrother.
And
we have no problem sticking them in a foster care system where nobody is biologically related to
where
them.
Some of the foster parents do abuse their foster kids.
Right. Why can't she go through the same background check as these foster cares to take the other kid in?
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
You were talking about the Ohio thing.
What do you think about that? Second explosion.
Well, out here in Salinas in California, there's food processing plants being burned to the ground for no apparent reason. Then you got the chickens. I say they're out to destroy this country.
Something's going on. I'm telling you, we got.
And Biden goes out he doesn't do shit about our border, but he's spending billions of dollars going out to Zelensky, who's an oligarch and an actor, and turns on the air raid sirens for no reason right when Biden comes out. It's an acting thing. And we can't even do our own border.
Well, a lot of this stuff never makes sense. It seems like we're the philanthropists of the entire world. Meanwhile, we can't even put food on our table and have eggs that are costing us $8 for a dozen. I mean, something's going on. Yep.
My daughter helps. My daughter has a job, and she helps.
Hold on, I got a phone ringing. Hold on.
Oh,
there it is. Turn this off. There we go. Sorry about that.
So I love babies, and I took care of my daughter as a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And she never did want to go live with her mother. She always wanted to stay with me. And now she helps autistic young kids who are nonverbal become verbal. She's got a knack for it. She's part of a team that goes into the homes and has sessions with the autistic children to get them to be verbal and to get them, because the parents are working, they don't have time to do it. And they don't have the skills.
Right.
But,
I don't know what we're going to do. Let me ask you this, Mab. I respect your thought process. So I'm meeting with one of the attorneys on the 23rd on a virtual meeting in the afternoon. I was actually going to go up there in person, but it just wasn't conducive because I've got
attorneys for who?
It's for another little girl out in Tennessee. The family was calling Department of Children and Family Services. Her name was Ariel Rose. and the Department of Children and Family Services were being called to have the mom was living in a homeless camp, and when they went to visit, there was drugs all around. So the uncle and the father kept calling the Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Children. They did nothing, and she ended up ingesting fent and ended up losing her life at such a young age. And the family was like, what the hell? We've been trying to get her removed. And they basically said, well, it's the state of Tennessee, Department of Children and Family Services basically said, well, we can't see who's calling in because they're anonymous. And we have to go through court orders to get these children removed. And it's like, no, you don't. We all know better than that. You go there and you see a child is in grave danger of losing its life.
A child in a homeless camp.
Yeah, you can do an emergency order and get that turnaround time.
Take that damn kid and you put him with a relative or foster care immediately.
Immediately. And they're like, oh, well, we don't know. Because if I ever called Department of Children and Family Services, I'm not calling there as an anonymous person. I have no problem giving my name, giving my address, giving my
wouldn't either.
None. They force
I'd be camping on their damn doorstep with a damn bullhorn.
Yeah, I have no problem. If I called the Department of Children and Family Services, I have no problem giving my name, address, my phone, because I have no ill intent when I call. I never would utilize the Department of Children and Family Services for revenge or something like that. I would never
That's what
utilize
happened
that.
to me. It was revenge for putting her in the rehab, and I let her have her daughter in the rehab. But I had visitation on Wednesday and the weekend.
Yeah.
And she had a fucking diaper rash. She came in and they tried to say I was sexually molesting my own damn baby.
Yeah. That's sad. And you know what? It usually is one of the other parents that make those allegations. And that's another thing. We need to be having, everybody's like, oh, well, if we make it a law to call into CPS, people may hesitate on calling. Well, the way it's working right now is it's not working because people have to call in there anonymously. If you tell them, if you lie to the Department of Children and Family Services and you utilize resources. Yeah.
If you would accuse somebody of child molestation out of malice, it's a felony.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a felony. Prosecutor, well, she's in rehab and, she's trying to get her life back.
Right. Get your life back together with the child removed. When you get your life back together, then you get the child back. Not while you're getting your life together. That child needs to be removed.
And they tried to steal her. They tried to get me thrown in jail. But, I just had the Lord on my side, and I was just like, don't do anything rash. And I sat there in that lobby, and I said, I am not leaving until I get my daughter.
Yeah.
And my dad had to drive, 45 minutes. And they handed her to my dad, and my dad handed her to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what in the hell is going on with these people?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, it is a broken system that needs to be revamped. And it doesn't just need to be revamped. It needs to be revamped in a meaningful way that does good. We want to take all the bureaucracy, the red tape out of doing their job well. You shouldn't have to go through 15 to 20 reports to have a child removed from a home. If there is a need to have that child removed from the home, take that child from the home, figure it out. And if the child is warranted to go back, the child goes back. If it's not, it's not.
But take them and then investigate.
Yes. Don't leave them in there to be manipulated by the parents that you're investigating.
And get the hell beat out of them.
Right. And not only that, but when you find out that these children were forced to say one story instead of the truth, then that's intimidation. You should be charging these parents with tampering with witnesses, obstruction of justice. There's so many other things that you can be charging these people with.
Exactly.
So it's just getting to the point we need good
no
people.
end. How can I help?
Yeah, but we need good people that want to fight for our children in these positions.
How can I help?
Right now, it's just getting the message out, reaching out to your politicians. I'm working on a template for my cards so I can hand out because I'm going to DC in a few weeks. And so I want to make sure I have these cards out so I can hand them out. Once we get the template, I'd like you guys to start handing them out to your places as well. Hand them across this country. We need to
I
plant the
will.
seed. We need to plant the seed. There's got to be something that changes.
Because in California, the homeless population is just out of control.
It is. It's because they make it conducive for a homeless population.
You know, they put them up in damn hotels and shit.
Yeah.
While the poor people who really need help don't get it.
Yeah. They make them have to go to homeless camps before they get help. They don't help them. Like, I'm all about prevention. Like, even with the children, like I've met with my sheriff here in Manatee County to talk about, you know, because there are children that are like on the verge of becoming, you know, having a different lifestyle. So we're trying to catch them before they go down too far down that hole. But right now, they're basically, if you have a home problem and you're acting out in school, you're deemed a troubled child. And I want to get that stigma off. We need to realize these are not troubled children. These are products of their environment.
No, last night on Dolly, we were talking about medications, about how they ADHD, bipolar, blah, blah, blah. We never had that back in the 70s. Kids are kids. They have attention deficit as kids, normal kids.
Because people don't
need
realize
to be
kids
on Ritalin.
scream and they cry and they throw temper tantrums. It's part of the learning process.
They bite you
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's why you have to teach them. They got to learn that if they touch that burner, they're going to get burned. You know, that's it's a learning process.
Anyway, I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm going to be in Florida on May 27th. I'll give you a buzz.
Awesome. Yeah, keep me posted. I've got a meeting May or March. Oh, you said May.
Yeah, May 27th.
Okay, I should be available by then.
4th or something like that.
Because I've got meetings 23rd.
I got my niece that I took care of when she was a baby. When I was 20. That was 40 years ago. And they love me to death. And when I asked her to come, she had the ticket within like an hour.
Do we think, let me ask you this, you know, you talked about medication. Do you, I believe that a child should not be with psych meds until their brains are at least developed. And I'm starting to believe that that people are introducing these chemicals that balance allegedly brains of children that don't need it, or you know, some children are problem children, period. You got to work with them.
Pharmaceutical companies making bank.
Yeah. And I keep wondering, are is this really causing more injury to the child's brain than it's helping? You know, your child's calmer because it's drugged.
Before I got this operation, I had depression, anxiety, panic attacks. I was 240 pounds. My wife talked me into getting a sleep study. I was choking out every 60 seconds.
Yeah, I sleep apnea.
And they said, if you don't get this operation, you're going to stroke out.
Wow.
Because my blood pressure and oxygen went to the high 70s, which is almost dead.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do it. But I didn't realize how long it was going to take to heal, and still not healed.
Yeah.
I mean, my chin's numb, my lips numb. Dolly says I look like Albert Fish, the original boogeyman.
Oh, that's because
he's starting to call me mad cow disease.
Hey, mad cow disease.
I haven't laughed so hard in all my life.
He's so funny. He cracks me up. He does crack me up. He does crack me up.
I was laughing so hard I was crying.
Yeah.
Me and Papercut Tina, we're both crying.
Yeah. She's sweet. She's sweet. I was kind of heartbroken that she said she came over here one time and was attacked by our audience. And I'm like, what? Like, we don't allow that to go on in our chat. I think she might have been doing some things personal. I mean, you can't bat 100% out of 100%. I mean, nobody can.
Well, Tina's a little naive.
Yeah, but that's what makes her so special, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
anyway, yesterday I had a Yahoo moment.
Oh, good. What'd you do?
I worked on my mountain lion sanctuary place in SoCal, California. My wife's that inherited, but the stepfather had just been destroyed the whole place. I mean, I've been cleaning it up for a year. So I had to go and mud the skylights. I had to retexture. I mean, I had 3 different textures that I had to match. And I finally got it painted today. Got home at 7 o'clock, 7:30. I ate a fisherman's basket, which was awesome because I had a root beer, which I haven't had for 6 months. And my neighbor is 84. He rides dirt bikes. So I heard a dirt bike. I
Did you
went
say
over there.
84 and runs dirt bikes?
Yeah,
Oh my.
John. And I went over there and I was helping him try to stop a gas leak. And I said, go down to the orchard and ride it around. So I went down to the orchard, acre and a half, right on the Soquel Creek. He was riding around and asked me if I wanted to ride it. And I was like, sure. So I hit first gear and then I hit second gear going up a hill. And I was going to try to slide it, but it kind of caught and threw me off. And I busted his clutch. I busted his clutch handle. Tweaked the lights and stuff. I'm like, John, let me pay for that. He said, no. But yeah, I was having a Yahoo moment there.
Yeah.
And my dog was just like, when he's there, he can just roam around anywhere he wants, you know. 10 ticks off of him today. Little tiny things.
Yeah, very good. All right, Matt, you take care and God bless you.
All right, sweetie.
Keep those woo moments going.
Oh, yeah, I do it all the time.
All right, God bless.
I need to woohoo myself and get to bed.
That you probably do. The brain needs sleep.
Yep.
All right, my man.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. God
Bye.
bless. Mab cow disease. First to hear of that. I do have the phones back on. Sorry, guys. I know somebody was calling in here when he was on the phone, so I apologize. It was ringing on another line. I'm like trying to figure out. I had apparently had a one of my Google Voice open on another thing, and I've got like all these windows open, and I'm trying to find it. I'm like, what is going on? Betty Stuffer needs the call-in number. It's up there, right there on the phone. It's 724-249-6140. We had to change the number because StreamYard changed and would not allow me to pull the other number that I've been used to using in so you guys could hear the people on the phone. So we set up a new phone number real quick. There's no 941s or 813s left on the planet. So 724 is what we got. I don't know where that's from, but I have a funny feeling it's from somewhere in Pennsylvania. So it's on now. I'm waiting for her ringing. It's on. Am I on the right one? Yeah, 724. It's on. I got my webcam. Hold on, let me turn it off again. Turn it back on. It's not ringing. Map called in. There we go. It's Betty.
Hi, it's Amy. I'm getting my opportunity to call you about this case.
Tell me this is not disgusting. This turns my stomach.
As an I'm a nurse, so I saw, I don't do the case management for pediatrics anymore, but I used to see these abused kids. I'm telling you, I once had this kid I was managing. Listen, the baby had 10 months old, two femur fractures and a cast in the hospital by the mom's boyfriend, and the mom is already pregnant again. You know this crap, I'm telling you. But the thing, in my opinion, these people need to be in jail. I don't know where the attorney general, well, Michigan, I don't like the politics in Michigan. You've got very liberal people that are running the state right now, and they don't seem to care. They have to have a change. The people that ignored this all need to be under the prison right now. And And I didn't know, did they, when they were going and trying to take them out, were they calling the media? Were they doing any of this?
I don't think so. I think they were. I don't think they were expecting to be doing this. But it doesn't sound like they were reaching out to media. But they were definitely reaching out to the law enforcement. They were definitely reaching out to the Department of Children and Family Services. And there was a warrant for their arrest. That the freaking police department was like, it's just minor bruises.
But you know what? All I can say is if people are going through this, they need to get the media involved immediately because of this crap that's going on. And they all belong in prison. And I think this is, they should have, I don't know.
You just broke up. Amy?
Not returning them just to be safe.
Yeah.
And calling the governor, who I don't like, Whitmer, I don't know. She's no good. I don't know how she's in there. And the other one, I don't remember the other woman's, she's the other attorney general. They were at the police, the conference, when the MSU incident, happened. Mm-hmm. But I just think this is just a horrific thing that they all should be in prison. There need to be report cards on all of these judges and everybody that have done this. So there needs to be a watchdog group going on with these cases. Yeah. And then the other thing, I'm going to be quick because I'm driving. The other thing is that with the Ohio situation, I think we're going to be dealing with birth defects, miscarriages, and infertility for years to come from this. And I think we are. I agree with Mab that we're being taken down from within. I think this is about to make us have a food shortage. With what he said with these food plants being burned down. I think that we're in a very bad situation, and people are just not waking up enough. You may be amongst people that are waking up, but I don't see people waking up. I really don't.
Yeah, they're starting. The only thing that's waking people up right now is the fact that they're broker and broker. And they're having to pay $5-6 a gallon of gas. They're having to pay. I mean, if it's here in Florida for $8 for a 12-pack of eggs, can you imagine what it's costing in California?
Oh, it's so bad. It's just like we don't even go out to eat anymore. Yeah. It's like I don't do it. I just can't. I don't want to do it. I do other things. It's just very hard. Everybody's making these sacrifices. And I feel bad for these kids right now. Yeah. Really bad that they're going to have less than what we ever had. So that's it. I'm driving to work, so I have to go. But I'll be quick. All right.
Well, God bless you, and it's nice to see you. Yep. Take care
now. Bye bye.
Amy, our resident nurse here that keeps us on our toes, and just open the phone lines back for those that are just joining, wondering if you guys are calling in and you're getting a busy signal or something like that. When a caller calls in, I turn the phones off so they're not interrupted. This is Betty.
Hey, it's me, Stepher's Coffee Bean.
Stepher, she was able to call in. You probably had the old number saved. That was probably your problem.
I did. And I'm like, it's ringing. And well, no, even I dialed the new one and it was just still ringing.
Yeah.
But it worked. So
good. Does this blood boil or what?
We need you in Michigan.
I know.
We need you. I told you, and I guess other people, it is so bad here. So bad. There were the kids last year. I don't even know if you remember me telling you about this. Last year, it was in the summer. I remember being on the phone, being all irate, talking to you on the phone outside, walking on my porch. Remember me telling you about the 4 kids in Detroit that were found in the floor or something like that?
I vaguely remember.
Was involved.
So many kids.
Huh?
I said I vaguely remember it, but there's been so many kids.
Oh yeah. No, it's a really vague. I don't remember everything about it either. But yeah, those 4 kids that had passed away under CPS's watch, and that was also Detroit, Wayne County.
Yeah.
And it's so bad. Even like my own personal life. It's nothing to do with me. It's my boyfriend's ex-wife and their whole problems. But the thing is CPS was involved in that case, which it should have been, but they dropped this case, and it should have never been dropped. And I was mad.
Yeah.
I go, so you're just dropping the case? I was like, because you couldn't speak with the mother. That's why they couldn't speak with the mother.
That is
The mother
not a
refused to
reason
speak.
to drop a case. That's a reason to keep going with the case.
You would think, right? But you know what their excuse was to us? Their job is done. The kids are safe, and their job is done.
Oh, this kid they thought was safe too. Well, it's not.
Right.
And not
And
only
I
that, but
told
who
her
did the
that.
home study for that home to bring those kids back to that home? That home looks like it's falling apart.
And they let them go back.
Yes, twice.
Terrible. Well, that's when I looked at that lady. I said, now, I'm not saying I'm a bad person, but you don't know if I am or not. I said, you don't know if Jimmy's good or not.
Yeah.
I just asked myself. But I said, you have no idea. And I said, and she just looks at me all funny. I was like, you didn't do any type of weird background check on me. I said, you did. I was like, you haven't been involved with us long enough to know that we're a safe place. And I said, now I could be putting my foot in my mouth here. I said, but I'm speaking for overall. Like, this is wrong. And I said, I'm a good mom and he's a good dad. I said, but how many other people have you placed kids back in their care? And this lady's just like, And I said, I'm not blaming you, talking to the lady. I said, it's the system. And then she like looked at me and she goes, it really is the system. She goes, do you realize how tied our hands are? And I was like, no, explain it to me. Because I mean, I'm snotty, like, but I'm mad. And she said, like, the laws in Michigan are so back and forth and they like override each other and vague that the lady said, we can't go ripping kids out. But we, she's like, but at the same time, we're supposed to give them like, with a rehabilitation time or whatever. And she said, and not all the time are we right. And I'm like, well, it seems like you're wrong a lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot. In Chatham County, it seemed like they would take children for like one gal was telling me that she was in a house smoking marijuana. Now, granted, I don't believe in doing any kind of drugs, even drinking
or smoking or anything.
No, I don't believe in that. But in the same sense, it seemed like they were taking kids from homes that were in better part, safe and clean, and leaving the kids that were in that were being really abused in the homes with their parents. It's like they get it backwards more than they get it right.
That's how it is here too. I've known so many parents. My one friend, they pretty much took her kids and talked her out of fighting for them because they told her she was a bad mom. Now, it was a give or take, whatever, but there's no right for that. Like they should never do that. Just like, even locally, there was this case, this mom was a really bad, like into drugs, really, really bad. And her daughter was like, I don't know if she was like paraplegic or whatever, but she was handicapped, wheelchair bound. And I heard about this off and on, and I'm just going, are you kidding me? They would say, people were saying like online that they would walk over this little girl when they visit this mother, and they just walk over her, and she laid on the floor all day, just laid there. Nobody paid attention to her, nothing. The little girl died of neglect. And the mom's in jail.
Yeah.
But, they could have stopped that a long time ago. That mom was in it.
I was known of Michigan's issues when like I said, I was I had my mechanic. He was doing me some favors. I was going to try to promote his channel, his stuff on here, but because of the hate and everything, I didn't want to affect his business.
So bad.
Yeah. So but I talked to them because they were having the mom. His ex had both of his daughters, and she was living with a creep in her home that had exposed himself in two different occasions, one being in front of a preschool. And they were trying to keep the kids still with the mom, even though the mom is now married to this yahoo. The children are acting out. Mom's drinking. She's never home. They're trying to fight. They're flying back and forth to Michigan. And I'm listening to these problems because I actually told them if it got too bad, then we would as a group rise up and head out to Michigan. But this was like a year and a half ago. And, they're working through that process now. with Michigan.
Still?
Yeah, they're still in the process of this. The courts ordered the lady that no contact with her husband, and then lo and behold, she's back living with her husband when she is ordered not to be there. So there's a lot of problems with Michigan. Michigan more so than any other state that I've seen.
It really, because like even in where I live, we used to have it here, and then we got a new judge. But to be honest with you, I was one of the ones that actually agreed with this law. Well, it's not really a law, but my dad would get mad about it and say it's not a Michigan law. But here where I live, there was a law that unless you were married to the person, you were not allowed to cohabitate.
Yeah.
Like stay with them with your child or nothing. Which I agreed with it because, it kept people, but
that sounds unconstitutional.
It is. And that's what my dad would be like, it is against your constitution. And I mean, it is, but I think it was a good law for the principle, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a constitutionalist. I believe that we can act responsibly and do our jobs responsibly with acting within the confines of the law.
And I agree. And that law has been kicked out of where I live. Nobody does that anymore. But but just things like that, like for instance, okay, what I just said, they put a law here where I live for the last decade or so, and that nobody could fight it, or nobody was smart enough to fight it.
Right.
Thank God me or my family never got involved, and we didn't have to fight it because we would have.
Right.
We would have went straight to the Lansing.
Yeah,
but,
I'm a fighter too. People start violating mine, I start getting people involved. I start going up.
Trains. And it's a big mess here. It really, really is, and it's really, really sad. And I don't know if our I know our CPS is overworked, but
this is people not doing their job. This goes far past people being overworked. I mean, you're talking about 3 years. This particular case, that's why I'm not even angry at the parents at Mo, because I think they're a piece of crap, and nobody can dispute that. It's what law enforcement and the Department of Children and Family Services have done.
I called my mom and told her, I was like, Bullhorn's calling out the sheriff of Wayne County and everything, Mama.
Yeah.
And she goes, good. She should be listening. I don't know if she is or not.
If you have a child that's being abused, you need assistance and anything, reach out to the Bullhorn Betty channel. I guarantee we will get stuff done. If they don't want to do stuff, they will hear from me and my audience. So don't keep it a secret. If you see something, say something, and then reach out to Bullhorn Betty.
Absolutely. And if you end up coming to Michigan, you let me know. I will help you. Do anything. I'll do anything. I'll be your right hand Michigan girl.
I wish I could leave right now, to be honest with you.
I wish
I could leave right now and go up there. I would, but I can't. I've got the meeting on the 23rd. Then I'm leaving to go to DC because that's going to have the most impact, and I can't wait to meet some representatives from Georgia because I'm going to let them have it about No Charge Hadley and their prosecuting office there in Chatham County. And they want to fight, I can fight harder.
Well, this will go on for a while, because that's the other problem with Michigan right now is all of our court cases are still backed up from COVID.
Right. Even Jens is in on that. I think anybody would. I've got like 5 people in here right now that said I'd fly to Michigan in a hot second for this.
Yeah, see,
so
I asked in the chat, how many are you from Michigan? There's at least 5 or 6 people that says, I'm from Michigan. Guidance lived in Flint. So, I mean, there's another one.
They still, all this time later, they still haven't gotten their water figured out yet.
Oh, I know. Oh, don't even get me going about that water.
That is just, Michigan is so dysfunctional. It literally, I feel sorry for you guys from Michigan. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't.
And you know what's the worst, Betty? Is I live in a town that they use for what do you call that? We're an experiment for like DHS and all that stuff. You get what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Were you part of the control group or the test group?
Oh, I don't know what group I was in, but I just know, like, somebody told me that my county, Michigan uses, or the government uses as like, oh, we're gonna try this thing called food stamps. Well, we're gonna use this county right now. and then they're going to test us first. And I was like, why is that? And I guess it's because we are so poor here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The cops here can override anybody, the judges, because nobody knows how to fight here. Nobody knows how to fight.
I do. I'll probably be in jail. But every
Yeah.
time I go out
Well,
there,
no,
I go to community.
in Lansing it's different, but Hillsdale, where I'm at, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're starting to get better representatives in that are trying to like make things better, but we don't have enough yet.
Yeah. Well, the
we don't
one
have
thing I
enough
like
voice.
about this is something that both sides of the aisle can get behind, and really, whenever you're doing stuff like this, you need everybody on deck.
You do,
and that's why I try with this, even though I am a hyper political person, but I try to make sure that this channel, especially when we talk about stuff, because in order for us to pass stuff like this, we have to be involved in politics. And
right.
I always try
Absolutely.
to find things that everybody can get behind, because I don't want to ever exclude anybody. I always want to be inclusive. And,
right.
I really don't care what your background is, where you come from, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. And I can guarantee we all want to make sure our children are safe and healthy.
Yeah. Liberal, Republican, nothing. We all want the same. Yes. Absolutely.
So,
but no, for real, you make a trip here like this summer or something. We'll plan it. We'll make it happen. I'll help you get a huge group. I've organized protests.
If we did do
before.
something like this, it'd have to be literally slap dead in the middle of March, because I feel like if we go into April, it'll lose its effect, and I can't do it this month. I can't do it this month.
And that's a good month too.
Yeah.
That's a good month in Michigan for some reason. That's the last protest I went to was in March.
Yeah, I think something in March, but I wanted to make sure it's in front of the state attorney's office. I want to make sure it's in front of that Lincoln Police Department. I want them to hear our voice. This cannot continue to go at the route it's going, at the route.
It really can't, and because the more kids are gonna come up missing or
and not
pass
only that,
away.
but we have a horrible human trafficking problem in this country. Period. We don't even have good numbers for that, and I guarantee.
And it's bad in Michigan.
Are wrapped up in that, and we need to find out which kids are being harmed by their parents and which kids are out there being trafficked. Because I need to know these things. Because how are we supposed to help if we don't even have the stinking numbers on how many of our children are out there being trafficked?
Right. And then the numbers, they're not really completely honest, but look up Michigan. It's really bad here for trafficking. 2 summers ago, there was a group of young adults that were younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
There was 4 of them. They had planned to come to my local fair and the county next to me's local fair, and they had 4 types of children they were going to kidnap and sell them to sex trafficking.
Yeah, it's bad. We have to get good numbers. This is a good educational point. This is a good commentary point about, not only the system, but we have to get good numbers, because when I look here in Florida, like we have a Paola Miranda Rosa, which we went out in the swamp and searched for, and we were told that she was attacked by a gator. There is no evidence of a gator attack. Trust me. If you are,
and how many gator attacks happen that people die in Florida?
Yeah, and we believe she was abducted. I truly believe she was abducted. I believe she was abducted at her car. Her shoes were at her car. You cannot walk.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Huh?
It took me a minute. I just I know who you're talking about now.
Paola Miranda Rosa. She was. I truly believe she was abducted, because her shoes were. You cannot walk that terrain over a mile away with bare feet. You just can't.
No.
I walked.
Oh my gosh!
And I kept hitting the freaking nubs on the walk there, and I'm like, can you imagine stubbing your toe without steel toe boots? Like, it was hurting me in the boots.
Right, or just stepping on a sharp rock. You stepped on Legos and stuff before. I mean, you jump. It's, oh my gosh, I don't know. All this stuff, you got me fired this morning when I was sitting there. I was laying there just listening to you, and I'm like, I jump up and I'm starting to type viciously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to call her.
It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic. Believe that, because I mean, most of our situations, Department of Children and Family Services barely even have a case open on the people. And here this has been going on for years, and they've had ample opportunity to save these children. And it took one of them dying before they took this damn case seriously. It shouldn't.
And that little boy that's left. Oh.
I'm an ounce of prevention kind of guy. I don't care if it makes a family unit uncomfortable. I'm an ounce of prevention person. Take the child.
Right. No, let's save our children, you know. Screw your comfortability.
Right.
You should have done something sooner. Oh my God, I get mad.
It does.
I get so mad, from the water to their children to the police. Oh, especially that you said it was in Lincoln Park.
Lincoln police chief was the one that's like, we can't comment on this, but let me pat ourselves on the back. Okay, you need to be fired.
Yeah, I used to work in Lincoln Park long time ago. And that is such... Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of Allen Park. I'm sorry. Lincoln
That's
Park
okay.
is wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Lincoln Park or not. I just know it's Lincoln Police Department.
Yeah, if it's Lincoln Police Department, it's most likely Lincoln Park.
Yeah, and Lincoln Police Chief, you failed. You're when you do not execute a warrant for arrest and 11 months later a child dies, you need to be taking off your badge and your gun and resigning. I'm sorry.
And he said there wasn't no injuries. That's why?
Minor injuries. Any injury to a child that's had this much cooperation from or attention from the Department of Children Affairs, so much so that you give them a warrant. Go execute that warrant.
Well, here, I'll tell you something crazy. You know how I told you about, the CPS dropped that case?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I've heard other people say this around here, like people who are like scammer people, that so CPS has 24 hours to talk to you, right? Or 48 or something like that. If you dodge them and they don't talk to you, they have to automatically close that case.
Well, then
something like that.
It would make everybody just not cooperate, because if you don't cooperate, you're off the hook.
Yeah.
What message is that sending to homes?
Yep. And that should tell anybody right then and there, if you have somebody who's not cooperating, there's a problem.
There's a big problem. You don't pass them off and say, "Oh, case closed, we're done."
Yeah, we can't fight this person. We can't find her. That's just stupid. Like, oh my gosh, I get so mad. You're gonna make me explode. But I'm gonna let the next caller on.
All right, first,
I'll be listening. I'll be looking forward to you in Michigan.
Yeah, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. I wanted to see what the attention was, what the will of the group is, but this is something I feel, if anything,
I think we can get a big group.
Yeah, this is some place that we would be protesting, at the facilities, at the police department, at the Department of Children and Family Services, at the state attorney's office. We'd be doing it the right way.
I'm there.
We'd be in front of a house.
Anywhere you go, I go. I'll be there in Michigan.
Awesome. Bye,
with signs and I'll buy my own bullhorn if I have to.
There you go. We're creating new bullhorns across the country.
Yes. All right. Have a great day. Bye.
All right. Bye, Stephanie. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I wanted to let you know, my grandson was very
who
badly...
am I speaking with, and where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Helen, and I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay. Nice to have you.
Okay, I wanted to let everybody know, my grandson was badly abused to the point where he had to get 3 brain surgeries, and other things happened to him. This was in the state of New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out about it, I called the newspaper. I had them at my house every day. I wouldn't stop until they found the mother of my grandson and her boyfriend for beating him so badly. Do you know where they found this couple? At Disney World, playing on all the rides. But I didn't give up for 1 minute. They nearly killed him. And now I can see New Hampshire still hasn't changed. And they have that little girl. What happened to that little girl that's all over the place?
Harmony Montgomery. And they had a horrible internal review. And they gave us a whole bunch of word salad of all these improvements that they're going to need to do. And this, that, and the other. And I want to know how much they have implemented from that report.
Well, you know, this happened to my grandson 8 years ago, and the DFS, whatever it is, the children thing, was notified. If I went up to the house, the police told me I was trespassing. I had to get out of there. I mean, it wasn't as bad as me trying to kidnap my grandson.
Mm-hmm.
They did nothing in the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, we're having a problem with the northern states. Like I said, you know, I'm fortunate here because when I sat down with my county commissioners and I was talking about these cases, I remember this particular one is the chair of our Safe Children's Coalition Foundation, which oversees our, you know, department here. And this is a nonprofit or a private little citizens group. And
Yeah.
I believe something like this needs to happen across the country because it's really kept everything in a streamlined process here. And he was explaining it to me, and I'm like, I was actually proud, you know, that they have these things going on here. But like he told me, this is only district wide. You know, this is not even statewide. And I'm thinking, man, this would be really great, one statewide, but across the country, we need somebody to oversee these things, to hold our Department of Children and Family Services accountable and make them transparent to some.
Absolutely, Betty.
And so that's lacking. We don't have the transparency. We don't have the accountability. Who's taking the fall for this little boy's death? Who is it? Clearly.
All right, her mother and her boyfriend. The boyfriend got 67.5 years in jail, and she only got 2 years in jail.
That's not good enough for this case because this boy
Oh,
should
no.
never even have been dead. The parents should have been arrested back in February of 2022.
This is crazy. This was a nightmare, Betty. But everybody was mad at me for calling the news every day to keep on top of it, and I didn't know what to do. But I knew this would find them.
Good.
And put their ass in jail, and because I had no clue how to handle that, but I called the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I did every day, and they kept coming and coming out until they found them in Disney World playing.
Gotcha.
You know, but people need to really, really, you know, watch these cases, and somehow the states need to protect these children, Betty. I'm on board with you 100%.
Something's got to give, and it's our children. You know, if it wasn't so, like everybody's talking about me needing a click and view for a child. Listen, I cover these cases. I don't like covering these cases, and that's why I'm getting off my duff to do something about it with the help of this channel. And other people are still complaining about these cases, but you know what? Not one creator outside of Heels on the Ground and other creators I work with has even reached out to me and said, "Hey, how can I help?" Not one.
Yes, Betty, I know. Betty, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Having my grandson, my son died, so he has no father. So no, we didn't know what was going on, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Betty. I can't hear you, but I'm thanking you so much, and you keep going, girl.
Oh, thank you.
Betty, you mean so much to me. I'm new with the YouTube, but you tell it like it is, Betty, and you keep going, girl.
I appreciate it, Helen. You take care. God bless.
All right, you too, honey. God bless you too. Bye-bye, Betty.
So I've got the phones off because I need to start gearing up. Today is day 21 of the Alex Murdaugh trial, and which would be day 19 of actual testimony and evidence. So the defense started off a little light on Friday. They killed it about 4:30. But when we went out, when the state went out, they went out with a bang. They really did. And oh my gosh, I don't know how they're going to overcome the GM OnStar evidence that was provided. It literally tells us the time he got to Alameda and the time he left and returned back to Moselle. It shows the travel of his truck. It put this in a timeline that, oh my goodness, you could not get past. And I am very curious. I'm interested. I'm sitting here with bated breath, waiting to hear the defense's case, because I don't know how they're going to overcome that evidence. That evidence was a killer for Alec Murdaugh, no pun intended, but it really sealed his fate, in my opinion. And I don't know how the defense is going to overcome this, but we have a great time over in chat. We watch it. When they break, I talk to you guys. I explain a little bit about the law. I explain how the law is being applied here. I talk about the case and how I feel with the strength of it. That's not going to be any different for the defense. I personally believe Alex Murdaugh is guilty as sin for all of this based upon what I heard. But I'm still, even as biased as I am in this going in, I still am willing to listen to what the defense puts on. But that OnStar data, I don't know how they're going to ever dispute that. They're never going to be able to dispute that. And that really kind of seals the fate for Alex Murdaugh, in my opinion. But we're going to gear that up here in a little bit. Please come back around 10:20, 10:30 and watch the trial. If you guys are just working and cleaning the house, doing stuff, watch the trial with us. Hear it. It's a great conversation. Everybody has been enjoying the chat. We don't have a whole lot of drama in the chat because there's a lot less people coming into the chat for this one. So you guys get me your undivided attention. You get my undivided attention in here. Now, granted, I am watching and holding on to every word they're saying and taking copious notes behind the scenes, because when there is a break, I try to explain. I try to give you guys reference points as to why I'm saying this or saying that. So I'm kind of, it is a long day. It's going to be at least an 8-hour day. On these days with the trials, my days don't end. They're 10-hour days. We have a county meeting today that I am missing to be here with you guys for this trial. I won't be able to do that all the time, but today I will be here with you. So we will be monitoring what witnesses come up and the information about it. So I'm very interested and very excited that you guys all come back here and hang out with me today. It is a lot of fun, in addition to hearing a great case, in addition to learning trial prep, learning trial strategy, learning the evidence that's used inside trial. This is stuff that will help us in the future. You get to see what argumentative is, what badgering a witness is. You get all these things you get to learn and hear with this case. And this case is so interesting. It just keeps your attention as well. So if you guys are interested in the case, want to get a little insight on how this whole stuff works behind the scenes, come back here and watch it. We learned a lot of stuff from cell towers to cell phones functions, to car functions, to OnStar equipment. This has really been a wealth of knowledge that can truly help us with other cases and understanding how other cases are derived. Not only that, but we learned that when you plug your phone into your car, it downloads a lot of stuff from your phone. When you are driving, your computer is monitoring your exact movements of where you are. I've got it in my car, and it scares me. But don't worry, I'm not planning on committing any murders anytime soon. So I think I'm good. I'm good. However, if law enforcement came in here right now and did a search of my computer, they might be questioning in their head, going, what kind of work do you do? Right? I don't even want to see what kind of searches are in my Google history. I really don't. But anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure with you. Thank you guys for participating in this conversation. Again, this really wasn't about Ethan. This really wasn't about his parents. This live here was truly about the failures in our system, and it really magnified those failures in this case. And it's very, very upsetting to me. It hurts my heart. It hurts my soul that this boy was so close to being saved. And if it wasn't the failures of the system in his state, he might be alive today. And that's really, truly what breaks my heart the most. So guys, I wish you guys the best. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is literally worth a pound of cure. And until next time, folks, please be safe, and God bless each and every one of you. Don't forget to do an act of kindness any opportunity you can. Good day.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.